As business focus on developing their degree of internal competitiveness, companies adopt external growth strategies. These are alternative modes of addressing the challenges confronting organizations. So habang ang mga businesses ay nakatuon sa pagbuo ng kanilang internal na competitiveness, ang mga companies ay gumagamit ng mga diskarte sa external growth. Ito ay ang mga alternatives na paraan sa pagresolba sa mga hamon na kinakaharap ng samahan. So, sa kabanatang ito, tatalakayin natin ang iba pang mga uri ng integrative na diskarte sa paglago. Tinukoy ito as corporate strategies, including the Boston Consulting Group model, the General Electric model, global strategies, and the competitive advantage of nations, espoused by Michael Porter. Integrative growth strategies. So, ano nga ba ang integrative growth strategies? Sabi niya dito, integrative growth strategies, which are essentially external growth strategies, involve investing the resources of the organization in another company or business to achieve growth goals. Integrative growth strategies are essentially acquisition strategies. Types of integrative growth strategies include horizontal integration and vertical integration. The two types of vertical integration are backward integration and forward integration. So, integrative growth strategies, sinasabi na ang strategy na to is mahalaga sa paglago ng panlabas na ng isang kumpanya. Ito ay may involvement ng investing or pamumuhunan ng mga resources ng organization sa ibang kumpanya o business para ma-achieve ang goals ng paglago. So, horizontal integration, ito ay isang strategy na kung saan ang organization ay nag-acquire ng another competing business. So, meron mga varied reason for undertaking the horizontal integration. Yung una, organization may employ horizontal integration para ma-eliminate ang real or potential competitors. Kasi, some competitors can present themselves as a deadly threat to an organization. So, ang example dito is yung Jollibee, nag-purchase siya ng Mang Inasal dahil takot siya na mawala yung market share nila sa fast food industry. So, another possible reason kung bakit nagkakaroon ng desire ang isang organization na mag-expand is because gusto nilang ma-expand ang kanilang market demographically at ma-maintain ang kanilang market status as a market leader or market challenger or a market follower. So, lastly, ang isang organization may undergo horizontal integration to help increase its revenue. So, next is yung vertical integration. It is a process of consolidating into an organization other companies involved in all aspects of a product or a service process from raw materials to distribution. It is an integrated growth strategy adopted by an organization to gain control over its suppliers and distributors, increase the company's market share, minimize transaction and inventory costs, and ensure adequate stocks in the retail stores. So, vertical integration can either be backward or forward. So, let's proceed to the backward integration. So, backward integration is another integrative acquisition growth strategy na kung saan ang isang organization ay bumibili sa isa sa kanilang mga suppliers. So, an organization may carry out backward integration to better control its supply chain and ensure a more reliable or cost-effective supply of input. Furthermore, ang mga organization, kaya nilang eliminate ang mga inefficiencies to secure quality output or according to set conformance standards. The organization can apply product and process strategies so that the right products are produced and the right services are rendered at the right time. Effective backward integration can help increase the profitability of an organization and thus create competitive advantage. So, an example of backward integration is if Nokia is a manufacturer of mobile phones, Yung Nokia, pwede siyang bumili ng or maghanap ng supplier ng kanilang mga phone cases. Forward integration is carried out kapag yung isang organization ay bumili sa distribution companies na part ng kanilang distribution chain. So, bilang epekto nito, yung organization is able to remove the intermediary, thus eliminating distribution costs. Forward integration allows an organization to reinvent its marketing outlook and redesign its marketing strategies. So, for example, an organization engaged in garment manufacturing can buy retail outlets that are displaying and selling their clothing lines to help increase their sales. So, let's take a look at a couple of terms and concepts that are related to external growth. Horizontal and vertical integration. So I have mentioned that these terms are usually made in connection with trying to explain the reason why firms engage in external growth, such as takeovers and mergers. So in terms of the direction of integration as a result of these external strategies, the first to remember is there is a possibility of going in a vertical direction that are forward integration or backward integration, and the alternative is to go from side to side or known as the horizontal integration. So now, trying to understand the nature of these terms, is the important thing is to reflect on what happens in the supply chain in the business. So let's look in a simple example of supply chain. This will help us explain the concept of integration. So a supply chain might be like this. So for example, we've got a business. It may involve with the raw materials that may put into a manufacturing process. Then the output of the manufacturing process might then go to the distributors, and those distributors in turn to pass the finished goods onto the retailers of the products. So that's an example of a supply chain working from left to right. Raw materials to manufacturing onto the distributors and finally onto the retailers. So in terms of the integration of a business, it may decide to try to move up to the supply chain or forward, of course, and it can move down or backwards. So in terms of the forward integration, what we're looking at is that it's moving up or moving forward through the supply chain. So for an example is a manufacturer designing to buy a distributor of products. So let's say in a supply chain, we can go backwards. So the backward integration involves a business moving earlier in the supply chain. So one example nito is a retailer buying a wholesaler or a manufacturer buying a supply of raw materials. And nabanggit ko din na we can go from side to side. So it is called a horizontal integration strategy. So it involves buying a business that is operating at the same stage of the supply chain. Example po is a manufacturer buying another manufacturer and a retailer buying another retailer. So meron siyang iisang stage lang sa supply chain. So here's an example of forward integration. Isang takeover na nag-took place in 2016 and it involved the business called the Booker Group, which is one of the UK's largest wholesalers, operation by which serves individuals but mainly small retailers. And what the Booker Group did was it agreed a takeover of a very large chain of convenience store or retail business na tinatawag na Londis and Budgens. That was an example of a distributor acquiring a retailer, or in another word, that was moving forward up to the supply chain by forward integration. Ito naman yung isang example ng backward integration. So the business on the right is the IKEA, which known as one of the world's largest and also an iconic global retailer of furniture and household goods. At ang ginawa niya noong 2016, is nagkaroon siya ng isang significant purchase ng forest and the necessity equipments, the woodcutters and collectors in Romania and Bulgaria. So what it was doing is a manufacturing business had an access to raw materials, kaya it's moving back into the supply chain and an example of a backward integration. And finally, here is an example of a horizontal integration. So, horizontal integration, siya yung parang most common na ginagamit sa business. We always see a retailer buying another retailers. In this case, this is one, sa example na ito po, is yung Marriott Hotel, which is one of the world's largest hotel business, buying a business called Starwood Hotel, which includes hotel brand, including shares in hotels. And bilang resulta po ng itong takeover nila, which is finally approved in 2016, Marriott Hotel became the world's largest hotel chain. It is a classic example of a horizontal integration where you got a retailer on service business buying a very first competitor. So let us now review the construction of the model. The Boston matrix consists of two dimensions. On the x-axis, we find the relative market share, and the y-axis is the market growth in percentage. Market share is an indicator of the extent to which product can generate revenue. Relative market share measured as compared to the largest competitor in the business area. The axis is read from the center of the figure when 1 times is the same size. One's business area has as much share as one's biggest competitor. To the left, from 1 times was a relative market share, gross compared to the largest competitor, and 2 times means has twice the market share of the biggest competitor. Correspondingly, we get less market share when we move right along the axis. There is 0.5 times means we have half the market share of our largest competitor. Therefore, the arrow on the x-axis goes from low on the right side to high on the left side. The opposite direction toward with what we normally expect on the x-axis. Market growth on the y-axis refers to the market the company is in, and growth is measured as a percentage with the low in the bottom and rising to high in the direction of the vertical arrow. High market growth means that many consumers are demand in the product making, which makes it an attractive market for the company to be it. The growth rate of an industry and the market share of a respective business relative to the largest competitor present in the industry are taken as the basic classification. For that reason, BCG matrix is also called growth share matrix. The matrix is used by an organization to classify their business units or products into 4 different categories. The 4 categories are question marks, stars, cash cows, and lastly, dogs. The products or SBUs are placed in relation to their relative market share and the market growth rate in the industry in one of these 4 categories. The position of the company's product is marked to the circle. The size of the circle depends on revenue in relation to total revenue. The following review of the four fields indicates the typical process that product or product group can go through in its lifetime. The products or SBUs are placed in relation to their relative market share and the market growth rate in the industry in one of these four categories. The position of the company's product is marked to the circle. The size of the circle depends on revenue in relation to total revenue. The following review of the four fields indicates the typical process that product or product group can go through in its lifetime. The organization mostly wants to achieve is question marks, stars, cash cows, ending with dogs. Question marks are products that are in the market with high growth but with a low relative market share. Question marks are typically brand new products and known to the market. Whether company has to struggle to gain market share and usually require a lot of investment. They are also known as problem children. They can turn into stars or end up as dogs. For example is which you can find in the grocery store is the Nestle, which is continually launching new products. Some become classics, others quickly disappear again. The star is the product that is located in the high growth market and has a high relative market share. The promotion of the question mark was so successful that its market share increased significantly and the product has to become a star. It is expensive to maintain stars in that position in the market as it requires costly investment in sales and marketing. So the star may not be good business for the company in the short run, but it is essential to have stars that to incorporate these good brands with consumers so that they can eventually do without so much promotion. Example po nito is Nescafe. So, kilalang kilala ang Nescafe sa maraming markets around the world. Nestle is promoting Nescafe as a brand. The brand has moved from question mark to star. So, from the word question mark, parang unknown pa siya, bago pa lang. And kapag nakilala is mag-move out siya sa star na category. The cash cows is a product that is characterized by having a relatively high market share in the market with low growth. It is a product that everyone knows and buys. It is a popular product for the company. The cash cow is nice to have as it quietly makes money without having to spend as much effort to sales and marketing. When compared to products in question marks and stars, however, growth opportunities are limited. So, from the word cash cows, cash, nagpo-produce siya ng profit sa company. So, isang example neto is a Coca-Cola company, which one of the best known brands in the world. A product in the dog field is in a market with low market growth and little market share. Bilang example is, it may be a cash cow that is no longer attractive to consumers. So, sinasabi niya dito na sa dog category, pwede siyang nanggaling sa category na cash cow na parang nawala sa uso, ganon. A dog is typically fades out of the portfolio and it is not profitable to the company. They are a drain on resources and cash. So, aksaya siya sa resources saka sa mga investment ng company. Examples are products like Walkman or DVDs. The lifetime of the product in electric industry is generally very short. So, nalalaos itong mga product na ito. So, ngayon, we shall now review an example of the use ng Boston Consulting Group Matrix. Gumamit ako dito ng example from Samsung products. So, sa clarity lang, ang alam naman natin na yung Samsung is maraming products, pero gumamit lang tayo ngayon ng 4 products galing sa kanila. So, the examples are taken in the electronics industry and the products move very quickly in different fields. So when you hear this, remember that the example is from 2019. The 4 products used as an example are Samsung gaming monitor, Samsung mobile phone, Samsung washing machines, and Samsung smartwatch. So, ang example po natin sa question marks square is yung Samsung gaming monitor. The market is growing rapidly, but Samsung share of the market is low and it's not a leading brand in the industry. So, maraming kalaban itong brand na maraming kalaban tong product na ito ng Samsung, kaya hindi siya yung nanguna. A lot of resources have to be spent on advertising and marketing to move the Samsung gaming monitor in the direction of a star. They may lead to sponsor of a gaming team or tournaments to reach that goal. Whether the Samsung gaming monitor moves toward becoming a star or ends up like a dog, only time will tell. So hanggang ngayon hindi pa alam sa industry na ito kung ano yung kahinatnan ng product na ito, kung mapupunta ba siya sa star or mag-end up as a dog. So ang ginawang tactics ng Samsung sa pag-advertise nitong product na ito, which is the Samsung gaming monitor, nag-sponsor sila sa mga gaming team or tournaments para ma-advertise or makilala ang kanilang product. Example naman sa star field is yung Samsung mobile phone, such as the Samsung Galaxy. The term has a high market share in the high growth industry. Samsung has its own base of loyal customers. To maintain its market share and competition, Samsung regularly launches smartphones with new features and design. So, para ma-maintain niya yung pangungunan ng Samsung mobile phones, kailangan lagi silang updated, na always silang naglo-launch ng bagong unit or bagong mobile phone na patok sa technology ngayon. Ang example naman ng cash cows is yung Samsung washing machine. It has a good market share in a stable market. They have become a household name. So, household name, ibig sabihin kilala siyang brand when it comes sa mga household goods. And stand for quality and trust. They don't have to advertise a lot to hold this position. However, they must seek to adapt their washing machines to new market innovations such as energy saving and other new features. So, para ma-maintain din ng Samsung washing machines na mapabilang sa cash cows category, kailangan maglabas din sila ng mga bagong washing machine na may mga innovation gaya ng energy saving, saka iba pang bagong features. Isang example naman ng dog category is the Samsung smartwatch. The product failed to achieve the success that they expected to achieve when launched as a question mark. So, nag-start itong Samsung smartwatch as a question mark noong nilaunch ito. Tough competition from competitors like Apple Watches lead to the failure of the product. So, dahil nga sa karibal nila na Apple Watches, is hindi pumatok itong Samsung smartwatch. Future investments are seen as a waste of company resources which could be invested in question marks or other category instead. So, sabi nga nila, yung in-invest na yung investment dito sa Samsung smartwatch, kumbaga kung sa ibang bagay siya ininvest is baka maging mas productive or mas na-achieve yung cash cow category or star category. Hi everyone, my name is Emmanuel Montehermoso, and for today's video, my topic is all about global strategies. What is global strategies? In some instances, organizations pursue global strategies for external business expansion. Global strategies cover three main areas, that is international, multinational, and the global. Companies who might want to sell their excess products outside their home markets pursue international strategies. A company is said to be doing international business, although its focus is the home market. On the other hand, a company can engage in multinational strategies when it is involved a number of markets outside the home country. The challenge in undertaking multinational strategies is to sell competitive and distinct products and services that are suited to the customer's demand of different countries. Thus, the strategy in one country may vary in another, depending on customers' expectation. In global strategies, the company treats or considers the world as a whole, one market and one source of supply with slightly local variation. That is all about global strategies. Benefits of global strategies. Pursuing global strategies can be beneficial to companies, given a larger market for its products. Companies can enjoy larger sales and benefit from the global branding of their products and services, not to mention the earnings from economies of scale. Higher production volume with efficiency increases savings and creates greater advantage for companies. Sourcing of labor can be studied to optimize labor costs.
McKinsey conceptualized the General Electric model for the company. This model is an improvement of the Boston Consulting Group model. It is used to assess the strength of a strategic business unit of an organization. It takes into consideration two parameters to determine the overall strength of a strategic business unit. These parameters are market attractiveness and business strength. External factors that may affect market attractiveness include market size and growth, market niche and segmentation, demand, and overall risk. On the other hand, the internal factors that may affect business strength include brand strength, staying power, profit margins, quality, customer patronage, and others. In the general model figure 5.3, the circle represents the organization of the company. There are 9 cells. Cells 1, 2, and 3 are favorable positions with relatively attractive growth opportunities. Cells 4, 5, and 6 possess medium attractiveness, and cautions must be taken in making additional investment. Lastly, cells 7, 8, and 9 are not attractive and the company should think of getting out. The Boston Consulting Group growth share paradigm and the General Electric model are two popular frameworks conceptualized by industry consultants to aid organizations in mapping their market and business performance. The Boston Consulting Group model measures market share and market growth, while General Electric model measures market attractiveness and business strength. That's all, thank you.